Richard Halverson, the former U.S. Senate chaplain, made this profound statement. In the beginning, the church was a fellowship of men and women centering on the living Christ. Then the church moved to Greece, where it became a philosophy. Then it moved to Rome, where it became an institution. Next, it moved to Europe, where it became a culture. And finally, it moved to America, where it became an enterprise. Simply put, the church went from circles to rows. In the early church, families and believers gathered in circles, prayed together, and talked about Jesus. The first meeting after Jesus ascended was in a prayer circle. Paul wrote in 1 Timothy 2 that the main priority is to pray, an activity which is done in a circle. In Corinth, the Christians had meetings in circles where all prayed and all shared the word. But then the church went from circles to rows. Churches adopted the Old Testament system with a building and a paid minister. As Halverson wrote, the typical ABC church today meets in rows so that Pastor Bob can teach what he believes about God, his philosophy, establish his authority, institution, promote certain practices, culture, and get paid for his work, enterprise. To be clear, we are not to be anti-pastor or anti-rows. Pastors who serve Jesus faithfully deserve honor, and there are times when sitting in rows and listening to teaching makes sense. We are not to have a critical spirit, but we are to be critical thinkers. So, it is healthy to ask these questions. Is your church life based on the New Testament, or is it based on tradition? Is your main church meeting in circles, or is your main church meeting in rows? Some Christians today have already made the switch from rows to circles. They gather on Sundays in homes in a prayer circle with Jesus as their pastor and everyone participating. Others stay home on Sundays and meet only in a small group circle during the week. Their goal, as Halverson wrote, is to be a fellowship of men and women centering on the living Christ. So, here is a recommendation. Consider starting a simple church plus that meets in a prayer circle with your family and friends. In this approach, you have the flexibility to meet in rows to hear from those who proclaim Jesus. But make meetings in rows a supplement and make your main meeting a prayer circle where Jesus is your pastor.